Hello and welcome to the Excel Cave. Today we're going to talk about several of the text functions in Excel. We're going to discuss the search, the left, the mid, the right, and the concatenate functions. In this example here we have three columns of data. We have the full state name followed by the two character state abbreviation enclosed in parentheses. We have the city and the zip code. And what we'd like to do in column D is point to column A and extract the full state name and leave off this two character state abbreviation enclosed in parentheses. Obviously, we need a dynamic formula to do that because the length of these state names vary. So that's where the search function in Excel comes in. You can use the search function to pinpoint where a certain string begins, and it will tell you just that starting position. So in this column here, what we know is after the full state name, we have a space and then a opening parentheses. So what we can do is say, well, we want to use the search function to find where the starting point of that opening parentheses. So the first argument to the search function is the text string that we want to find. So it's whatever you put, it's going to be in double quotes because it's a string of text. So we want to find the opening parentheses. And then the second argument is what you want to search. Well, we want to search our cell reference here, column A. And it has a third optional argument where you can specify where within that string you want to begin your search. Now, it's optional, like I said, because by default it begins at the first character. So that would be the capital A in Alabama in this cell. So normally you wouldn't want to change that. You don't even need to enter it because it starts at 1. There may be situations where you have a column containing strings that the first character is the same and you don't want to search on that. You know, you want to start at 2 or 3 or whatever, and that's where you would change that, enter that third optional argument. But like I said, we want to start at character 1, so we just don't even enter the third argument. So you can see that pulls back 9. So when we count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, space is 8, and then 9 is where our opening parentheses begins. And when we drag this down, you can see it's different because all of these state names are different in length. So it is a very dynamic formula, and when combined with other formulas, you know, it can be very useful in extracting certain bits of text from larger text strings. So what we'd like to do is combine it with the left function to pull just the full state name and nothing else. Before I do that, I just want to show you the left by itself. The left function pulls back, you know, the first argument is the cell reference, the text you want to pull back certain characters on. So first argument, cell reference. Second argument is the number of characters from the left. So beginning from the A, capital A in Alabama, let's just say we wanted to pull back 4 characters on the left side. So that's going to pull back ALAB. And it's also going to pull back all the first 4 characters of all these other state names. So what we'd like to do is combine the left with the search to make a dynamic formula that will pull the full state name and nothing else. So we're going to begin with the left. The text that we want to pull back on is our cell reference. And the number of characters to the left is where we are going to insert the search. We want to search on the opening parentheses, find the position where that begins. Again, that's the second argument of the search is going to be this where we want to search. It's our cell reference. So we can close that out with the parentheses, and now we're back into our left formula. Now we need to add a -2 here because we want to search 2 digits to the left, or in other words, we want to pull back the left, the left 7 characters. So we would put a -2 there and then hit enter. You can see that pulls the full state name, and you can see it's dynamic because it pulls the full state name for all these other cells that have different varying lengths of text. So when we go to evaluate that formula, we can kind of see how this works. We have our left function, our cell reference, and then within that left function is the search -2. When you step into that, you can see it pulls back, the search pulls back 9, but then we have the -2, so it pulls the 7 left digits in that example. However, it's different depending on how long each of these state names are. So now what we'd like to do is extract just the 2-digit or 2-character state abbreviation from each of these cells. And that's where you can combine the mid function with the search function. Before I do that, I'll just show you the mid, how it works just by itself. The mid function has 3 arguments. You have your text, your cell reference as your first, the start position of where you want to begin your search or pull, and then the number of characters you want to pull back. So in this example, our first argument is going to be our cell reference. Well, in the Alabama, this row here, we know that, or this cell, we know that the opening parentheses starts on position 9, so 1 to the right of that is going to be the first digit in our state abbreviation. So we want to begin with the 10th position and pull back 2 characters. So that pulls back our state abbreviation. Now this is not a dynamic formula right now because all of these vary in length, how long the text is. So again, we want to insert the search function within the mid. I'm going to start out with the mid again. We want to, our first argument is our cell reference. The start number is where we're going to insert the search. And again, we're going to search that opening parentheses. Second argument is the cell we want to search in. I'm going to close that. Now, like I said, the state abbreviation begins 1 character to the right of that opening parentheses, so this time we're going to add a 1. And then within our mid formula here, how many characters do we want to pull back? We want to pull back 2. So now we can dynamically pull all the 2-digit state abbreviations. So now what we'd like to do is pull back, well, we want to pull back the state abbreviation with the parentheses. So that's the last 4 characters. Well, you can use the right to do that. The right function, has two arguments. It's simply just the cell reference and how many characters on the right side you want to pull back. So we want to pull back the last 4. The final function we want to talk about is the concatenate function. And that simply joins several strings of text together. So in this example, we would like to make a column that contains the city, a comma and a space, this two character state abbreviation, and another space, and then the zip code. So we can use the concatenate function to do that. So the arguments for the concatenate function are just simply the strings of text you want to join together. So they're all separated by commas. So our first string of text is our city. So that's our first argument. The next thing we want to have is a comma followed by a space. So we're just going to manually input that, so that would be enclosed in double quotes. So we have comma and a space enclosed in double quotes. And then we have our third argument, which is going to be our 2-digit state abbreviation. And then we'd like another space between that and the zip code. So we're just going to have a space enclosed in double quotes as our fourth argument. And then our fifth argument is going to be the zip code column. So you can see how combining the search function with functions like the left and the mid can be quite useful when you have columns or strings of text that is not necessarily the way you'd like to get it, and you just want to extract certain bits of text from larger strings, and also how you can use the concatenate function to combine strings of text together in the order you'd like it to be in. Thanks for watching, guys.